Officially called to order the regular meeting of Coachella Valley Water District Board of Directors, July 28, 2026, here in Coachella. And please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We don't have to share mics, Jeff. You get your own.
Roll call, please.
Yes, good morning. President Powell.
Here.
Vice President Estrada.
Here.
Director Bianca will be absent for the meeting. Director Aguilar.
Here.
And Director Sanchez.
Here.
Thank you.
Very nice. Do we have any additions, deletions, or adjustments for today's agenda?
No, sir, we do not.
No. Is there anybody from the public wishing to comment at this time?
Let me check Zoom. I do not see any member of the public on Zoom raising their hand to speak for general public comment. These two are agendized items. Okay.
It's more legroom. No public comment. So on to special presentations and recognitions. We did have 4 anniversaries and 2 retirements. I don't believe anybody on that list is here, but we have 3 20-year anniversaries: Flavio Cardenas, Lucero Garcia, and Jeffrey Robertson, and then a 35-year anniversary, Christina Freeman. And then we have 2 retirements with 25 years, David Aguilar, and then with 26 years, Jesus Fernandez. So congratulations to you. Hope you're out there doing something fun, staying cool out there. Consent calendar, items 6A through M. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar? I didn't see anything that needed.
I would move approval.
We have a motion. I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed 4-0 with 1 absent. Yay. On to the action calendar. Good morning, Robert.
No, sir.
We'll let you help us understand this. Wow, look at that. You get your picture?
So we did a change. There was a request a request from a board member just to identify speakers. So the easiest way we thought was that going forward, every item that has a presentation, we will list and have a wonderful photograph of the employee that is before the board.
That's really great. I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good change. Go ahead, Robert. You can announce the item and run.
Yes, sir. Appreciate being the first one with my photo on here. Not sure whether that was the best example or not, but I'll take it anyways. It's a rather long title, but long and short of it is we're seeking board approval for to enter into agreement with Bureau of Reclamation, to continue our system conservation implementation agreements for the next 2 years, for 2027 and 2028. And then all the associated actions that are needed to fully execute the agreements. And I'll talk about what those are here in the following slides.
Oops.
Let's see. Okay, thank you. Next, please. So all these actions are encompassed in resolution number 2026-33. So first action is approve extending the 2 agreements that we talked about. I think the board has some familiarity with these. So it's the replenishment facilities curtailment. Specifically, we're curtailing 35,000 acre feet at Thomas E. Levy, and we have been doing so since 2023, even a little bit in 2022. And I can get in a little bit of history on that. Just for reference. And then the Colorado River Water Conservation Program, colloquially known as the Ag Fouling Program. So that's up to 20,000 acre feet for the next 2 years, up to 10,000 acre feet a year. That's the coverage that we have under CEQA. And also to allow to authorize the general manager to execute these agreements with reclamation. So for the following agreement, it's the first amendment, and then the curtailment is the second amendment for extension. And then making the appropriate determinations for CEQA exemption, filing the notice of exemption with the county clerk. And then I think the only item that's not in the resolution is the budget amendment resolution, this 26-27-001. So there are some adjustments that are made to our budget for curtailing. Okay, so why are we doing this? So as the board is well aware, CVWD has been negotiating with other California parties and other Basin State parties for, I should say, the better part of the last 5 years. It seems like it's just been an ongoing issue. And with the December 31st deadline kind of looming for the expiration of 07 guidelines, I think there is some urgency, I think, on the part of the feds and the states and also Mexico to have some certainty on what's going to happen. So long and short of it is, I think we're expecting the final EIS on the analysis for the range of alternatives to provide environmental coverage from the feds to be released today. So again, these are a broad range of analysis that covers what the environmental impacts could occur. That's not what they will do. The record of decision is the document that will actually provide, what that preferred alternative does, and we expect it either later this week or perhaps next week. So in order to ensure some stability for the next 2 years on the river, the feds have proposed this new concept of, a new pool on top of the 1.5 million acre feet contributions that the lower basin has pledge to make for at least the next 2 years. So this 1.5 million acre feet contributions come from California, Arizona, Nevada, and then also Mexico. California's share is 440,000 acre feet, which will be uncompensated, and up to now has not been fully dissected in terms of who is going to take how much cuts, but this will have to be decided before January 1st of 2027. So that pot of water will be uncompensated. This pot of water that the federal government is providing additional compensation for 27, 28 is part of this new pool that's 700,000 acre feet in volume. And it's not 700,000 acre feet a year. It's a total volume to be retained in Lake Mead. And I think it's just, if you kind of think about it, it's a pool of last resort. If, say, the 1.5 million acre feet and all the other actions they take are not sufficient. So in order to kind of kickstart, the seeding of this pool, Reclamation has reached into their pocketbooks in the Inflation Reduction Act, which was authorized, I think, back in 2022 or so. Originally, there was $4 billion in that pot. CVWD, along with other Basin State parties, were beneficiaries of that for system conservation efforts. Out of that $4 billion, there's about $350 million that's left, and that federal authorization for this pot of money expires on September 30th of this year. So after that, the money, if you're not encumbering it or have it in the budget, it's gone. So there is urgency to get this finished. And I think Reclamation has given us until like August 1st to sign the agreement for the willing parties. So the curtailment programs, again, for 2022, we started under 500 plus plan. We were paid $261.60 an acre foot. More recently, it's been about $400 an acre foot. So you can see, through the sum total, we've received about a little bit over $58 million between these two phases, if you will, for this particular program. The ag fallowing program was fully funded by the Inflation Reduction Act at $400 acre foot. So this agency has received about $4.45 million, of which we dispersed most of that out to our participants because this is a participant-driven program. So to kind of talk about some of the key changes and the key elements for these two programs going into 27, 28. For both conservation programs, these waters, conserved waters, will be retained in Lake Mead and will actually be reimbursed for what's actually conserved. Because I know, as with previous discussions, there's some concern, if we sign up for 70,000 acre feet, for the conservation program and also the 20,000 acre feet for ag fallowing program, what happens if we can't hit that mark? What happens if we need to change our course? And the way that the contract is written, you only get paid for how much you actually conserve. So we can back out of it. The program goal for the curtailment program is up to 35,000 acre feet a year or 70,000 acre feet total. But again, we don't have to do that if circumstances dictate otherwise. Forbearance is a big piece of this. So it's required to ensure that the water is not diverted by a third party. And so the consequence of that is the approvals from all California parties are needed. So that will be coming as a subsequent action, hopefully before the end of the year, so that it is a condition for all parties to get paid by reclamation. They need that forbearance. So the compensation, I think this is one of the biggest changes. Rather than $400 an acre foot, the feds are offering $325 an acre foot. So over the next 2 years, possibly up to $22.75 million if we go the entire 70,000. For the ag fallowing program, the general terms, you can see it there again, $325 acre foot. And again, I think most of this will be going to the participants, $275 acre feet. $275 acre foot to growers, and we retain $50 acre foot for administrative charges and cover our IWAA waivers, irrigation water availability assessment. So the payments from reclamation to CVWD there's 4 payments that are made. And basically it's 1/3, 1/3, and 1/6, 1/6, and it covers a span of essentially 18 months. So the relationship between CVWD and our participants, again, these are just the highlights. Everything else kind of remains the same from the previous agreements. The conserved volumes are measured against a 3-year baseline. So for existing participants, and we have a few of those, we will be using the 2019 to 2023, the 5-year, and then we'll take the average 3 years for that. For brand new participants, we'll be looking at a time period between 2021 to 2025. The irrigation water availability assessment will be waived during this participation period, contingent on the participant fulfilling all their obligations. There will be no groundwater pumping that will be substituted for this, and we do look at groundwater pumping records, and we'll be paying this. CVWD will be paying this to the participants in 2 installments. I think one change that I will note to the conservation agreements, and this is not in the board packet that is online, because these were made as a result of the last-minute negotiations with the feds from last Friday, and we literally got these changes yesterday, and I think the new documents should be in front of you in paper form. But I just want to note it for the record that the sections that were removed, different numbers but the same language in the replenishment curtailment contract is section 3.4, and in the ag fallowing contract is 3.5. So what it points to is section 7.3, and 7.3 has also been removed, and I think the hot button topic, if that's an appropriate term, basically says that notwithstanding any other provisions, nothing in this SKIA precludes the secretary at his sole discretion from issuing a certificate of from storing and using any system conservation water created under the SKIA for these 2 calendar years for federally determined purposes. So I don't need to get into a lot of details about this, but let's just say that this implies that the water that's created in this pool, which are from different states, can potentially be moved across state lines. The federal government has a obligation to Indian tribe in Arizona. So there's no states that I think we're negotiating with, Arizona included, that are happy about that prospect. So because this creates so much controversy, I think the Fed contract team decided it was best to remove all this language. So right now, there is, in our current contract, there is the provision of recognizing the water that is conserved is held in Lake Mead for the protection of the system. So that's the fallback. So apologize for the last minute change, but it was a necessary and I think a change in a good right direction. So we request that the board approve these SKIAs with the deletions of these noted sections. So with that, I realize I kind of went through this presentation fairly quickly, but hopefully it covers everything that the board needs to entertain a decision. So happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Robert. Okay. And we understand Metropolitan has already acted to participate in this?
Yes, sir. Thanks for the reminder. So during the Metropolitan Board meeting, well, actually, I think there was their committee meeting, subsequently on the board meeting of July 13th and 14th, they actually, they're participating in this program for 2027. They're electing to give up 200,000 acre feet, for the good of the river. And they have also, their board also authorized forbearance for these programs as well.
Right. Okay. Okay, good. Any questions for Robert?
Yeah, I have a
Comments?
question. Robert, so thank you for your work on this. I know it's been largely a moving target for you, but I just wanted to confirm, so even though the money expires in September of this year, it's being encumbered for the full term of the agreement through 28? Can you just, I know that's what you said, but I just want to clarify that.
Yes, sir. What you said is correct.
Okay.
It is encumbered for the duration of 2 years.
Okay.
And there's no obligation for us to participate in any of these programs for more than 1 year if we didn't want to. But I think for the purposes of what you talked about, Director Aguilar, I think the feds just want to say, okay, 70,000 and then plus another 20,000. So they're setting aside money for that and encumbering it.
For a return. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts and comments. I was trying to do the math with what we've already conserved and then what the proposal here is for additional 2 years. With everything all in, are we close to like 250,000 acre feet by the end of 2028?
I think that's right. Let's see, 70,000 plus another 140, so that's 210,000 just from the curtailment. And then the ag fallowing has not been as robust. Let's just say I think we've only received like maybe 11,163 acre
Somewhere
feet.
in the ballpark of 250,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
So right, less than 250.
And then I think I heard you say that the proposal for the next 2 years would be a reduced price for per acre foot. So rather than it being, I think, about 14 million a year and getting the 28 million, I think we're getting more like 22 million is what you said. So
Right, 22.75.
all right. And then the comment that I have, which I think you've heard, and I think the other board members have heard, is that I think we really need to have some type of dedicated study session item on the agenda for us to really have some conversation and input on what we're going to do with all this money. I'm thinking, based on the math, that if we go full in by the end of 2028, we probably gathered up about $78 million. And so that's a significant amount of money. And the other thought that I had is, as we talk about the ag fallowing program and that seems to, it's just kind of strange to me how we're able to provide funding to participants under that program. And I'm trying to figure out if there's a mechanism essentially for urban users, which is, I think urban users are conserving water for a dollar amount. And I'm trying to figure out in what way are those urban users benefiting from that money. And I think that at a minimum, it ought to be either a savings or no cost to the replenishment, right? I think this money should pay for replenishment because there's no replenishment happening. So those are just some thoughts that I've been wrestling with. Is under the urban program, participants are getting a check, and so why are we not doing kind of a similar situation with the money that we're getting from not replenishing at Tommy C. Levy? Is there a difference there that's clear?
Well, sir, I think those are some interesting thoughts, and perhaps a study session on these different funds would be good. I mean, I think we're also contemplating some additional water purchases and so
But
on.
you kind of follow what I'm saying, right? I mean, John, do you have like a thought
Well,
on that? Like,
I have lots of thoughts.
yeah, but I'm
I'm
trying
going to
to
let Robert do it.
Yeah, but here's
Here's the main
yeah, but
difference.
I'm trying to
the
figure
main,
out
the
like
main
why-
difference is that I'm not a huge fan of the ag fallowing program. I'm not necessarily going to vote against it, but I don't love it. But anyways, because it creates some odd
Yeah,
dynamics.
I'm just trying to understand.
But the ag fallowing
we're cutting
program
checks.
is actually reducing your draw on the Colorado River, whereas domestic is using groundwater. So indirectly, it's Colorado River or State Water Project water, but or some local water, but it's not directly Colorado River water. And I think that's the first main thing. And then just going back to one of your earlier comments, we're not doing as much replenishment at the Levy facility as we would if we were not participating in this. Obviously, we're curtailing almost all of it. But we are, and I'd say we would not be able to do this program if we didn't have implementation on the Oasis project. So that is a replenishment. It's an in lieu recharge project that is working very well. And so what we're seeing is less impact on the groundwater. And I would look at the purpose of our East Rack is to solve the overdraft problem. And if we're solving the overdraft problem, it's a success. And I think we are.
Agreed.
One of the most important parts of this is it's temporary. If we see the well levels in the East Valley are dropping in ways that we didn't predict, then we can stop. And I think that's really important.
Correct.
And we need to continue monitoring. I know we've been monitoring that and getting regular reports on that. But there is some replenishment. It's obviously having some positive effects on the East Basin. And I agree with the study session. There is some funds accumulating that we have not really identified what the best way to use them, and we should do that.
Yeah, and I appreciate your thoughts on that. It's something that I've been thinking about. It's just a lot of money, and I'm trying to figure out what the public benefit is for that money, especially if it's coming out of replenishment. There's a cost associated with that water that I think was put on the urban ratepayers, I would call it. And now it seems to me that we're selling that water back at a pretty good price. And how is that reflected back to the customers that I think have been paying for that water historically? So, I'm trying to make sense of that. And I don't quite have an answer, but I do wanted to kind of let you know that that's what I've been thinking about. And to the extent that you can help me make sense of it, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe in the fall would be a good time to have a study session on that once everyone's back from,
Okay.
right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's not this is going to continue for another year and a half or 2 years, so
Right.
2 years, 2.5.
I still remember, I do have a homework assignment for, kind of providing a picture of the, different waters and different funds and so on. So
Right.
not forgotten.
Yeah. Thank you. Good comments.
And to ease some of Director Estrada's concerns, we've been very transparent in what we've done with these funds we've received from the curtailment process and the ag fallowing. The board has been informed every time we've used those. They do sit right now in the canal fund, but we've been very transparent. And yeah, long term, once we get a little further along with a couple other issues, it is very important for staff to understand what the board wants us to do with those funds.
Thank you.
Yep. Fair enough. Okay, so we need to take action here. Is there a motion to adopt I guess there's 2 ordinances, right? Are we doing it all in
There's
one?
one
There's a
Resolution.
resolution 2006,
One resolution.
2026, not 2006, dash 33, and then we have a budget amendment resolution 2627-001.
Sorry, not ordinance. Yeah, resolutions.
and those can be taken together.
All right. Is there a motion to adopt both resolutions?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed 4-0 with 1 absent. Thanks, Robert. Thank you. So just before you walk off, so today we're just going to get a range of options from the feds, and then later this week, you think, they're actually going to have a record of decision that says which one they're going to do, or maybe a hybrid of them?
Yes, sir. That's my
I
understanding.
mean,
from-
we need to be ready. I'm sure the media is going to pounce on this because it's going to be scary and probably not completely unforeseeable, but it's interesting. Are we ready? I guess the PR department here, are we ready with something to respond to all the inquiries? I'm sure there will be.
I think the CRB has something at the ready, and so at least that's what I heard yesterday during our planning call, and I think we have another one today.
Okay.
So yes, we'll make sure that we're ready for media and inquiries.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Should that come
Thank
out?
you.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
Robert. Okay. Okay, now on to B, Mario Camacho.
Thank you, Robert.
Well, good. So this is gosh, I'll let you take it. These long titles. Go ahead.
Good morning, Board. My name is Mark Camacho, supervising engineer for the irrigation division. So this morning, I have before you is the solicitation of bids for the following construction projects. So one is the irrigation division box and the lateral related project. And the third one is
Thank you. You know, it was interesting. I don't know who's listening to this, but looking at in the general manager's report that was in the consent calendar for today, it shows reserves building up. And I remember 25 years ago, we were looking at the canal system and we said, oh, you know, there's $100 million of repairs that we need to do with these concrete pipes. And there's $100 million sitting in there in reserves now. Some of it's this money from the IRA, I get that, but just wanted to make that comment that there's still a lot of work to be done out there on that infrastructure that is probably a lot more than $100 million now because of inflation. And we've been working on it as needed, you know, kind of dealing with leaks and pressure problems and things like that. But there's a lot more to do. I guess I don't want to get behind. I don't want to get behind on the deferred maintenance question on the canal, on the distribution system. Just a comment. I know this is good. This is all good what we're doing today, but there's so much more. You know.
absolutely not just laterals, but also the canal itself, the gates, there is a lot that we're working on too.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and I would just comment that, although I haven't been here 25 years, when I did get here about 16 years ago, there was still this tension within staff and the board that eventually the sense was a lot of that agricultural land was going to be sold to developers. So the issue was, well, why do we need to maintain an irrigation system that we're not going to continue to use? And I think that tension still remains.
I never said that, but I might have heard it. I don't know if I even heard it. Who said that?
Yeah,
I understand
not
the
for
question.
attribution, but it was
I
a
understand
very,
the question, and I still think that the ag economy here is going to continue. And
as long as there's Colorado River water, I agree. There's a
Yeah.
good chance it will continue, but there are competing interests.
and the problem is that these development projects, you don't know where they're going to be,
Correct.
and they don't necessarily shut down an entire area of the distribution system. So you got to still get from one side to the other, and
Right.
you have these intervening projects that don't really affect that.
Correct. And we don't control how property owners use their parcels.
No.
So if someone were to decide, I don't know, I want to sell my land for a data center,
Right.
that has a huge impact, not just on us.
No, I get it. Yeah, no, I remember, gosh, there was an effort when Roy Wilson was supervisor. There was an effort to master plan that whole question of where does the housing go, where does the farming go, and there was this idea floated, and they actually the county hired a consultant to see if there was some way to trade land, so that you could put all the development in one part and all the farming in some other part, and not have this sort of hodgepodge of uses out there, because it would be more efficient that way. But in this country where we believe in private property rights, it didn't get very far. It would work great in Cuba or China or something like that. Yeah. Anyways, on to this item. This is pretty straightforward. Do you have anything else in your presentation? That's it. Yeah, 3 different ones, right? Okay.
I got a question on this.
Go ahead, Alex.
On the 101.3, when do we anticipate this work would be done? And if so, when the work is be done, will any of the customers be out of water for a certain amount of period of time?
This fall. So ideally.
Yeah, one of the customers reached out or in this area and they said ideally they're a vegetable farmer and said ideally be June, July because production's in between September through April, May, if possible, for the outage. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Maybe a couple months later when it's not as hot. Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Good comment.
Motion.
Sir, you want to make a motion?
Sorry. I could, but I doubt it'd be recognized.
Is there a motion to approve this item from the board?
I move to make a motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Mac wasn't even on, so nobody heard you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passed 4-0 with 1 absent.
Test. Is this capturing? I didn't know no, in the audio, sorry. Just
You
want
know,
to make
there-
sure it's capturing.
It-
Is it? It's okay.
Well,
So I think Mario was
you're
just very
closer.
soft-spoken.
Yeah, but Sylvia, you're closer. If you step back, I don't hear the echo when you're real.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Is that capturing? So you have to be somewhere around here. Okay.
Yeah.
Whoever's speaking,
Put some
a
tape
little
on the
closer.
floor.
Yeah, no, I can tell even from here. I moved it a lot closer because they're pretty
So we
sensitive.
adjusted it because they're so sensitive that if your mic is on and Jeff and Jim are having a conversation,
Yeah.
the mic will pick it up. So it's
You need to be within.
low.
I think you need to be within 6 inches of these
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
So just
The other
keep
ones you could
that
go.
in mind.
The other ones you could be farther away.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
But I didn't want to capture audio from your
Yeah.
person sitting next to you if we had the mics that sensitive.
Right.
So we kind of had to balance that out.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. C. Kristen Thomas, This is the Amendment 2 for the PSA with Eurofins Drinking Water. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, President Powell and members of the board. My name is Kristen Thomas, Environmental Services Administrator for Water Quality and Compliance. With this item, staff are requesting board authorization for the general manager to amend the existing PSA with Eurofins Drinking Water and Wastewater West, LLC, for on-call laboratory services by $1,200,000, which would increase the total contract amount to $2,200,000, which includes a 10% contingency over the potential 5-year term of the contract. Staff are also requesting authorization for the general manager to execute annual amendments of approximately $400,000 during the agreement term. Excuse me. Funds for on-call laboratory services are included in the approved fiscal year 2027 budget, with future needs to be included in future budgets. And the Eurofins PSA supports specialized testing that's not covered by our lab's ELAP certification, which includes PFAS analysis. And since the contract was executed in January 2025 and then extended through January 2027, costs have since increased due to expanded PFAS monitoring as well as Chrome 6 MCL compliance requirements that were not fully known and anticipated at the time of the contract initiation. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any
you.
questions.
Actually, I did have a question, but I think you've answered it, which is that this contract increase is pretty significant in less than an 18-month period. So I know the regulations are changing radically as we go on, but it seemed like a pretty big increase. So, but I understand that the change in scope. Is there more detail that you can provide on exactly what's causing that figure to double?
Yes, so the PFAS monitoring, the full scope of the required testing wasn't quite known yet when the contract was developed. The state issued the monitoring order in 2024, so we had started some initial monitoring, but we didn't yet know what the results were going to be and what the future testing was going to look like. But the contract was ready to renew, so within that first year of the contract, the testing costs consumed most of that anticipated amount of what the contract was set to be.
And is this consultant readily available for the work that we're asking them to do, unlike some of our other consultants who are heavily loaded with other contracts?
Yes, thank you. Yes, Eurofins is well-equipped and established laboratory that has been doing this testing for quite some time and has the capacity
Okay,
to
good.
support us.
That's good to hear. Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do they have a local lab? Local, what's local mean? I don't even know. Like in Riverside County, for instance?
They have testing labs throughout the country. They're a national, international company, and I'm blanking on the name of the closest location.
So the closest location is Pasadena, but they do have courier that comes to our facility twice a week or as needed to pick up our samples and take them to their facility for analysis.
Pasadena, okay, all right.
Good.
So Southern California local, yes.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Good.
Thank you.
I would move approval of this item.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
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 Passed 4-0 with one absent. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, Human Resource, Bill Walters, good morning.
Good morning, President Powell, members of the board. We're requesting authorization from the board to authorize the general manager to execute a 3-year professional services agreement with Keenan & Associates in the amount of $293,925 to provide employee benefits, brokerage, and consulting services for our employees, with a unilateral option to extend 3 one-year extensions for a total of $605,841 for a 6-year term. And I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
This is the same company we've been using?
Correct.
Yeah.
Since 2014, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Apparently it's working out all right.
They're doing very well.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Motion approved.
I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed 4-0. One absent. Last one, Dan Charlton. Just wondering what your picture would look like.
It's old, like me.
All these are like old pictures.
So on that,
You
on
can't
that
say
note-
that, Jim. You can't say that.
On that note, if you don't like your photo, and this is for anyone who plans to present, if you do not like your photo that we have on file, please see Jesse Reese, and you can update your photo anytime we have a new employee hire on Mondays. There's.
I've been here almost 25 years. My name's Dan Charlton. I've seen this item a few times before, but hopefully we get resolved this time. It's recommended that the board authorize the general manager to execute a contract services agreement with Absolute International Security in an amount up to $733,180 for the annually, or $1.466 million over the initial 2-year term. It's also recommended that we approve up to 3 additional 1-year options with the escalation in line with CPI. How the funding is included in the budget. There's a small component of the funding that is reimbursed by San Diego and the San Luis Rey due to the treatment at the Quagga facility. We have armed services all over the valley. We have 12-hour guards right now up at Whitewater, and we have 24-hour armed security at our Quagga site. So 50 miles this way or 100 miles this way. So we have roving patrols at all of our campuses. We have roving patrols at 4 to 5 well sites, our warps, and a bunch of other facilities. So it's a really important security patrol services that we have. Requests were publicly advertised on April 10th, opened on May 6th. Six of the 26 were deemed responsive. There was a protest, but it was deemed that the protest lacked merit, and a response was provided to the protester. So as such, Absolute received the highest score of the 6 that were deemed responsive, and we would recommend award. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Mr. President, we do have 2 individuals in the audience who would like to provide public comment. So if the board would like to hear them before their questions, or if the board would like to ask questions, I'll leave that up to your discretion.
Yeah, for sure. They can come on up and give their comment.
Okay, and then
at
we
this
also
time.
have 2 on Zoom, so I will take the 2 in-house, and then we will go to the 2 speakers online. Our first public speaker is Robert Pentanella. Did I say that correct? Close enough, hopefully.
Okay, come on up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. President, board members, staff. My name is Bob Pantanella. I'm the operations manager for Southwest Security Services. And my office is located right here on Indio on Gulf Center Parkway. And we've been there for quite a while. We share that office with our landscape company as well. I wanted to just take a couple of minutes to share my perspective, not as speaking for the contract, but someone who has been responsible for making sure the contract has been successfully performed each and every day over the past few years. My job has never been simply to schedule security officers. My job has been to ensure that Coachella Valley Water District always has a trusted partner they could count on regardless of the day and hour of the situation. And please forgive my accent. I come from Boston originally. So.
Really? I never would have guessed.
And I'm still a Patriots fan.
That's too bad.
You know, over the you've got to be a Raiders fan, I'm sure. Over the years, I've worked closely with Mike Rios. We've developed a very close relationship in the facilities department. Our relationship is based on communication, trust, and responsiveness. Whenever Mike called, whether it was a routine request, an emergency, a staffing issue, or a special event, my response was always, we got it covered. Always. The partnership wasn't limited to normal business hours. It meant being available nights, weekends, holidays, during emergencies. It meant adjusting schedules on short notice, responding immediately when additional security was needed, and making sure district staff never had to wonder whether somebody would be available or not. For 15 years, Southwest philosophy has been simple. We don't just work for the district, we work with them. I'm also very proud that our management team is local, along with all of our resources to serve the valley. If Mike or anyone in the district needs me, I'm not several counties away. I'm right here. I'm available all the time. So on behalf of our entire team, I would respectfully, very respectfully ask that you reject the current staff recommendation and direct that this contract be rebid. I think we really deserve that. I would really appreciate the mulligan. Thank you. I'm available for questions if you have any.
All right, thank you.
Our next speaker is Daniel Hernandez.
I definitely hit the microphone short, so that's good. Good morning, Mr. President and board members. My name is Daniel Hernandez. I am currently the Business Development Manager for Southwest Security. Today I'd like to speak about something that doesn't appear on the bid sheet or on evaluation scorecards. The value of keeping local dollars in our local community, number one. Today, I'd like to, over the past several weeks, I watched a number of your board meetings, and I was encouraged to hear that you discussed the importance of supporting local businesses and value maintaining local preference, and when selecting district vendors, the conversation. I'm getting blind. Hang on, sorry guys. That this room understands when local business succeeds, our entire community succeeds. Southwest Security isn't a company that works in the Coachella Valley. We are part of the Coachella Valley. Our leadership lives here. Our managers work here. Our employees raise their families here. When the district invests in Southwest Security, those dollars don't leave here. They are part of here. They pay local wages, support local families, purchase goods and services of local businesses, and invest in the communities that we all call home. When the district, over several years, Southwest Security has proudly supported local organizations, youth programs in the Coachella Valley, Imperial Valley. We give back, and that's what we do. It's part of our responsibility and our local community. From our leadership of our company, we proudly support youth boxing programs that teach discipline and confidence. We support youth baseball teams that bring families together and teach networking. We support our youth soccer programs that provide opportunities for hundreds of children throughout our communities. We contribute local charity organizations, events, and programs to improve the quality of life of people that live here. Those investments are possible because of success is directly tied to the success of our community. Equally important are the people who wear Southwest uniforms. All of our security professionals that are assigned to Coachella Valley Water District are local residents. They aren't commuting from another county, they are here. They are your neighbors. They shop at our stores, their children attend local schools, and many built careers in our company. The fact that a number of our team has been serving Coachella Valley Water District facility for more than 10 years. They know the sites, they know your employees, they know your procedures, they know your expectations. They are built relationships based on professionalism, trust, consistency, and simply cannot be replaced. When you choose a company, you're choosing more than a security provider, you're choosing a partner, and that investment in the community long after today's meeting is over.
And I'm sorry, sir, just to be fair to all the speakers, your time has expired, so you have to cheat.
You want me to wrap up real quick?
Yes.
Let me wrap up with one thing then. I highlighted this part. As you consider your recommendation today, I simply ask that you remember the principles many of you have already expressed to this date.
that local community businesses matter, local jobs matter, and keeping public dollars circulating within our local economy strengthens and very communicates the district that exists that we serve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are now moving to our online speaker, Betsy. I'm going to go ahead and allow you to talk, Betsy, and you will have 3 minutes. Can you hear us, Betsy?
Great.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. My name's Elizabeth Martin. I represent Southwest Security. To give you a little background here, Southwest Security had a small, non-important glitch on its bid. That was the basis of rejecting its submission. Our position is that should have, and has been since day one, that should have been overlooked and allow them to continue in this process. We're calling it a bid, but it's not. It's a request for proposals, and therefore the board here has discretion in a greater amount than it would if it was following statutory bid processes. We've asked that Southwest be allowed to continue to participate in the process. The cost is about $60,000 lower, and they have served you for approximately 15 years. In front of you, you should have the formal protest letter that was provided to you and to your attorney, and we ask you consider that and take one of two actions. If you need additional questions about the board's complete discretion here, please continue this matter. If you wish to normalize this request for proposal process, please reject the submissions and ask that it be re-advertised so that there can be a more level playing field. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. I want to stress this is a matter of board discretion to move forward with a request for a revised request for proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next online speaker is Jason Jackson. Jason, you'll have 3 minutes. Can you hear us? Jason, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay. All right, thank you. Good morning, Honorable President and members of the board. My name is Jason Jackson, President of Southwest Security. I appreciate the opportunity to address you this morning regarding the recommendation to award the District Security Services contract. I respectfully ask the board to set aside the staff recommendation and direct this contract for rebid. For the past 15 years, Southwest Security has proudly protected Coachella Valley Water District's facilities. During that time, we have successfully earned 3 separate 2-year contracts, followed by 9 consecutive 1-year option renewals. Those renewals were not automatic. They reflect the district's continued confidence in our performance, our responsiveness, and our commitment to protecting the agency's employees, facilities, and critical infrastructure. Today, however, staff is recommending that contract be awarded elsewhere. What makes this recommendation particularly concerning is that Southwest Security submitted a bid that was nearly 10.5% lower than the recommended proposal. At the time when every public agency is focused on controlling costs and being good stewards of taxpayer and ratepayer dollars, it is difficult to understand why the district would recommend paying significantly more for the same services. Equally important is the issue of local presence. Southwest Security is headquartered right here in this region. We maintain offices, management, supervision, dispatch, vehicles, and personnel that are already here to support Coachella Valley and Imperial County every day, with full-time staffed offices in both Indio and El Centro, California. We have spent years building relationships with local law enforcement, fire agencies, district staff, and the communities that we serve. By contrast, the company being recommended does not maintain offices or operational infrastructure in either Imperial County or Coachella Valley. When emergencies occur, when staffing challenges arise, or when immediate management response is needed, local infrastructure matters, local knowledge matters, local accountability matters. This is not simply about one company winning or losing a contract. It is about ensuring that the procurement process is transparent, competitive, and inspires confidence. When an incumbent with a proven 15-year record is successful of successful performance submits a substantially lower price proposal and is denied the opportunity to compete for the contract over a subjective opinion over what is or is not immaterial defect in a bid document, it is reasonable to ask whether the process achieved the best value for the district. Rebidding this contract does not harm the district. Instead, it reinforces public confidence that every qualified proposal is evaluated under a process that is clear, consistent, and beyond question. It gives the board confidence that the final decision reflects both the values and fairness. I respectfully ask the board to set aside the staff recommendation, direct staff to rebid the contract with clearly defined evaluation criteria, and allow all qualified firms the opportunity to compete again in a process that leaves no doubt that the district has selected the best overall value for its ratepayers. I thank you for your time and your service and your consideration.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Mr. President, I do not see anyone else online who has raised their hand for this item.
Okay. Thank you. I have a question. Has nothing to do with the bid protest or any of that, but I was noticing online there's people that are putting up pieces about fishing in the canal and how great it is.
Yes.
Actually, some pretty big fish in there. Those carp. So,
Please
what
don't
do we
promote it on video, sir.
What do we do? What do we do about people fishing in the canal?
So it's been an interesting summer, I would say, social media-wise. There has been a group out at Whitewater.
Yeah, I would only say this isn't really central to the topic of this particular contract.
I want to know if our security services cover this.
We have. Our
'cause
security does not do a patrol along the canal. We have no trespassing signs. We have staff driving the canal.
So they cover
every
Whitewater,
day.
but they don't cover the canal.
They cover certain areas in the canal,
Part-
like the Quagga site, but not all the way along on a daily basis. They do not.
But rest assured, our office, working with Dan's office, has had a rapid response to any such activity, and we've been very successful in getting that shut down directly
Well,
to
it's
the people who
rampant
participated.
on online. I'm not.
Well, that's where we're shutting it
online
down.
that much.
Well, we've
And
been able
I
to
see it,
use DMs and other things on social media
tell 'em to
to
knock it
directly interact with
Mm-hmm.
these folks to get it to stop. So we realize it's a problem, and I didn't want to
Okay.
interrupt you, but just
Great response,
Yeah,
Jeff.
no, that actually that helps. That helps to know that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's a liability issue there that we need to
Correct.
be focused on. So there's some element of that covered in this security contract.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. All right. What's the pleasure of the board?
I have a question. So, Dan, I recall that at the last meeting where we discussed this, that there was an indication from Absolute that despite the fact that they're based in LA, since Department of Water and Resources there is their largest client, or one of their largest clients, I still have a concern about local hire. But I believe that they made a statement, and I don't know if anybody is here today from Absolute, but if not, perhaps you recall and you can reiterate, what is their plan to hire locally and to establish a local presence?
Yeah, I do. There are representatives here, I do believe.
Can they address that?
I do recall that came up in your comment before. Yeah, that would be helpful. Kind
Yeah.
of that as an opportunity to rebut the comments earlier.
They are establishing a local presence, is our understanding.
Good. I'd just like to hear more detail about that local presence and how that looks. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable
Good.
President,
Good morning.
board members,
Morning.
staff. Great question.
Thank you.
As we mentioned in our bid that was submitted, we do have the infrastructure all throughout the Coachella Valley, Palm Desert area. Although we are Southern California based, we do have operations here in Coachella, and again, all the way extending to Blythe. So this is not new territory for us. To directly address your question, sir, we always give the opportunity to anybody that actually wants to stay on this contract, the opportunity to go through our process and apply for the positions. We've actually have a recruiting team that's hiring from the local area right now. We actually have pretty much the whole contract staffed with new people, with new security professionals within the local area. We're not going to be sending anybody, although we are LA County based, we're not going to be sending anybody that's out of your county or out of the area of operations. So we do have people here that live here, reside here, and are going to be servicing this area.
Great.
And anybody else that wants to stay on the contract, any recommendations, we're always there.
They can
to also
call you.
accept. Correct, absolutely.
Okay, great. That's very encouraging. Thank you.
Yeah, good follow-up question, John. Thank you. All right, let's go.
I'd like to remove the recommendation of the 3-year from the item as a recommendation. I think it's a 2-year contract with three
3
1 year.
option years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I should make a motion for that.
Yeah, I would. So you're going to make a motion to approve the item with that change? Right? Is that right?
Well, there's been no motion yet, so the motion could be, Vice
Well,
President.
I don't know that's more of a suggestion, a comment, short of a motion. I don't know if there's a different motion on the table, but
I like that
Not
one.
yet, sir.
So you could make a motion to approve the contract for the initial 2-year term in the amount of $733,180 annually, or $1.466360 over the initial 2-year term. That could be a motion
Without the 3-year.
without the
Extension.
ability to extend for
I'll
3
second
additional
that. I
terms.
like that.
yeah, I'll make that motion for the 2-year contract with no additional 1-year options.
Yeah, I'll second that.
So I have a question about that. But can you hear me on this thing?
Yes.
About that motion. So, what does that do to the bid process? Does that require us to have to go back and rebid it, or can we go ahead and make that amendment change on our own without disturbing the
No, I
bid
think-
process itself?
Yeah, so what you did is you went out to bid and to ask for bids and terms of that bid, and those bid terms included various dollar amounts, various term amounts based on what staff recommended. So when it comes to the board, you can decide to award the contract or not, or to award it and to not have the three extra term years if wished. Just know that after the first 2 years, we'll be right back into this process again of
Right.
going out to bid.
Right.
But you have the actual discretion as a board to decide that you want to award the contract for less than the additional 3-year terms. You are still would be giving the approval to the contract for the terms that have been proposed, for the 2-year terms that have been proposed.
So Absolute has the option then, if this motion passes, to reject the revised term?
Well, we've made an offer that if we accept the contract, that it'll be, entered into and honored. So,
They were never promised those extra 4 years.
There's no
Right.
guarantee that the
Yeah, I
option
guess
would
that's
be
my question.
if the dollar amounts change, yes, that would be something that they would have some feedback on. But the dollar amounts have not changed. The actual term of the contract would not have changed. It's just the additional term years. So because the dollar amount is not changing and the initial 2-year term is not changing, it's not something that the bidder can say, well, no, we don't want to do it.
Okay.
Yes, the recommendation for the 3 option years is a completely separate recommendation. The contract is for 2 years, up to $1.466 million.
Would it, along those lines, is it an issue if we were to try to modify the 2-year contract
Yes,
and
it
to
becomes
say,
very big.
Yes.
so that is, that we would say, let's do a 1-year contract that gets more
Yes.
Right, so,
Don't wanna
back,
do that.
back to what it says here, up to 3 additional one-year terms with possible pricing escalation in line with CPI index. So as of today, we don't have a particular dollar amount or index by which to have that dollar amount for those 3 additional years. So to Director Aguilar's point, we have a contract with a term with a dollar amount for 2 years. The 3 additional one-year terms will be subject to some some sort of discussion in terms of what the dollar amount would be.
Yeah, I got it.
But to answer Director Estrada's question, it is a 2-year contract. It is not within the board's discretion, as I understand it, to reduce that 2-year term
Yeah.
to a 1-year
I
term.
mean, at that point, we would have to not award the
Start
contract.
over.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And while the board engages that, can I have the name of the gentleman that spoke from Absolute?
Because we've already
Your-
started. Well, I don't know when the
Okay, thank you.
started July 1st, right? Is it a 24-month contract starting the day that we do it, or because we've already blown through July, right?
Yes.
So it'll start in or whenever it starts. It won't. It's not going to start just counting the 24 months on July 1st.
It would start probably August 1st, on or about. We'd have to get a contract signed and through the insurance process, and
Right.
we do have Southwest on board until then.
Right. Okay. All right. There is a motion and a second. Any other discussion before we vote? All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 That passed 4-0 with 1 absent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
And by the way, thank you guys for all your dedication over the last 15 years. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, I would echo that. Southwest did a very good job representing us and keeping our facilities safe. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. This is now 9A, written communications. I don't think there was any, right? There isn't any. Board general comments, Director Sanchez.
No comments today.
No comments.
No, I don't know. Is this public knowledge about the the Colorado River Supply stuff?
We don't typically
Not- I
announce
just thought I would say-
hires,
You
but
won't say
we,
anything.
what President Powell is referring to is that after a very long recruiting process, we have extended an offer, and it has been accepted for the imported water manager, which is a position that'll be working with Robert. And we have also just recently signed a professional services agreement with Peter Nelson to augment that, starting at about 20 hours a week. And Robert and Peter and the new individual, Colin, will all sit down at some point and figure out how they were going to approach it as a consolidated team. But
So Mike-
Peter's available to start anytime, and I think Colin starts August 31st.
So my comment on that was I just think that, first of all, our team is great, and I'd throw Steve Abbott in that group.
Exactly, yes, sir.
And Robert, and this is going to be even better. So I really do like the direction we're going in terms of putting that very good team together for imported water. It's such a huge part of what we do, and right now is when we need to get all hands on deck, and here we are. So really appreciate the hire and the contract with Peter. I think they're going to be, it's going to be very helpful for us. So I'm very encouraged by that. That's my only comment. Board request for future agenda items. I know we did have a request for a study session, right?
Yeah, I mean, whenever
Like in the
that's,
fall.
whenever that may, appropriate or makes sense. I don't think that
We had that.
it's super urgent, but
Yeah,
we ought to pencil something in.
I agree.
Will do.
Thank you.
What are these runway lights that keep blinking? Or it's like you're on final approach.
Oh,
I think that is the wireless or
Oh, I
Wi-Fi.
see that.
It's the routers letting you know it's talking to the internet in the
Very
broader sense.
strange. All right.
We can put some tape over it.
It'll correct us. It'll like have a little jab in the chair if I do something wrong.
Well, the main concern was the audio balancing. That was what we were
concerned about it. We need everybody in the room to testify.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's not that annoying, but it's kind of makes you wonder.
Skynet.
Meetings. Let's start with, let's see, we had this, Bianco's not here, but he was at the meeting July 14th. This Varner is a staff internal meeting to discuss the Varner Road CVWD sewer capacity trunk upgrade. And I know that the proponents are interested in some further, and they had some interesting ideas that I heard about after the meeting. So there's going to be some, maybe some more input from them on how we can get that problem solved.
Great.
Yeah. Actually, it is. You'll like it. I don't know if you've heard, but
I have not.
I'll talk to you after.
So, so what's the plan on eventually it'll bake to a certain point and then we'll talk about it, or?
The Varner Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, there might be another party willing to help finance it. That's not CVWD. So that's what's developing. Could be very helpful for the project.
Okay, but it's not changing any of our kind of past practices?
Well, I think that's what it's going to be, something we need to discuss. Maybe it'll become a moot point.
Yeah, if they find enough financing. Yeah.
We're also looking at the modeling to make sure that the model that we use that resulted in the pricing reflects adjustments that we now know will likely occur and not require the flows that were analyzed. So that may come down.
Okay.
That could make a huge difference.
Yes.
If I could ask, is it possible to get, because I'm getting bits and pieces of this discussion, is it possible to get some kind of a summary of where this sits, either from you, Jim, or from somebody on staff, as to where these discussions?
Yes, sir. I don't think we're ready to have public discussions, but I can certainly fill you in on
Well, I'm getting questions, so it seems that there's different levels of information based on which board member is talking.
It wouldn't surprise me that there are a number of folks out there trying to influence the board members.
Sharing information may not be necessarily trying to influence, but I'm just asking for an update for all of us.
Yeah, I
as
feel
to
the
what's
same.
going on. I think that's really critical. It doesn't appear though that's the case, so I'm just putting that out there.
But there are things that, again, we need to get the hydraulic analysis updated so that it is reflective of the more recent developments. Once we have that information, we can go back to the board and not this board, but we can go back to the drawing board and figure out what our requirements are based on the other development plans that we have. That will result in a certain pricing that will then go back to the contract, the developers, to see, all right, this is where we now are. Does this help you? The other thing that we have talked about is that our fees that currently allow credits back to developers for off-site work need to be re-looked at. The last time we did it was in 2021. Cost of construction has clearly escalated, so those fees will likely also increase, which is good and bad.
Good for them.
It's bad because it's going to cost them more to connect to our system, but it then provides a larger credit for off-site work that's accommodated. Right now, one of the concerns that the developers have is that they can't afford to pay for the pipe that we need. And while we are agreeable to pay for the upsizing, it doesn't really make the cost differential work for them. So there may be changes that we have to consider as far as policy, but we haven't formulated those yet because we don't know what the number is that we're going to ask them or we're going to provide them in order to continue with their development plans. The other thing is, there's a certain risk. There's been some comments that, maybe the district can make up the difference. Well, this maybe not this exact board, but the CVWD board has told us in the past that we will not act as a bank for developers. We will not front fund requirements because we can't control when the development actually occurs. And so there have been times when we don't recover those costs. So that's just kind of in a nutshell where we are.
Yeah, and part of that is we have an existing cost of service study that's already being done on sanitation, right?
Mhm.
And so I've asked that fee be looked at
Correct.
as part of that.
Correct, that's actually a different part, but yeah.
Right.
Is this section of road part of that same downstream road that was identified during the whole Dutch Brothers conversation and the bigger development there? Is it downstream of that? Because I know that during that conversation, there was also similar comments made, I think, that you're making as it relates to relooking at the hydraulic model to really make a determination of who's in, who's out. Because it seems like over the years, similar to the list that you have, Jim, where I think you kind of list
Right.
projects that have been opened, but not some of them are kind of no action for several years. But I think that was a question that those folks had, which is, are those demands in the model, and so they're taking up space, although they might not be they might not be real projects anymore, and so. Is that section part of that?
So there's two sections. There's one east of Cook and one west of Cook. There's a phase one, there's a phase two. We can probably, rather than tie up,
Yeah, I don't think we want to say too much here. I mean, we've had developers who've come before us.
It's
for
yes and no.
against all of
I'm
these
just saying,
things, and so
Varner
we don't.
Road. I know Varner Road's a choke point.
Yeah.
It sounds to
Yeah.
me like
But
you're
it-
saying.
it's-
Just
The
no
Dut-
good deed goes unpunished. If we talk about it too much here and it's not on the agenda.
Well,
then-
to
The Dutch
Director
Brothers
Aguilar's-
was
yeah.
a specific overcapacity issue for the existing pipeline. They could have upsized the pipe, they could have done more, but what they wanted to do was just
Sure, but it still
use
ties.
the pole.
But it still ties to the credits. It still ties to. I mean, it's still people putting in money that.
Ultimately, yes, it
I mean,
does,
it's all
because-
part of the same conversation.
But of course, the general manager can talk directly to each board member to answer any questions you
Yeah,
have on
I
this
think
or any
it's probably
particular
worth the
project.
conversation.
All right.
Um,
Just Varner Road. We've been talking about Varner Road for a while.
We have.
Yeah.
It's a expensive project that people can't afford. Colorado River Board on the 15th, Director Estrada.
I was not able to make that. I was not there.
Okay. Same day, I did not attend the disadvantaged communities where you were.
I was also not in attendance. I should have been because staff called me about an issue, and for some reason I thought it was the week after. But there are some, I think, concerns that are being brought up by the community along the Middleton Road, Avenue 66, and so I know that. I'm hoping that we can get together with staff to just get a little bit more information on that, and so I'll be making some of those requests. But I was not there that day.
Fair enough. Salton Sea Authority on the 16th.
Yes, I was there. Director Aguilar was there too, and we had a nice introduction to, I think, is he the director of Bureau of Reclamation, the gentleman that is housed out of Murrieta?
Aaron.
He's like a regional manager.
He's like the regional manager. So we had a chance to
Office manager.
Yeah, to talk to him, and we also went over what I think we were calling what was that thing Patrick called his?
Oh, is assurance the doctrine of assurance?
It was the one where he was outlining the working group and trying to bring everybody together.
Yeah, the project committee.
Yeah, so there's
I was gonna fix your mic.
there's a big Patrick's working on trying to consolidate all of the agencies that might have a hand on what's going on at the Salton Sea, whether that's the air districts on each side of the county, the the universities, nonprofits, and so he kind of laid out a plan for that, and I thought it was a good plan. I'll leave it at that, so you can add some stuff.
The only thing, thank you for that. The only thing I would add is that Patrick, the executive director, had presented an item which would ultimately result in an MOU with the Conservancy for the possibility of shared services between the Salton Sea Authority and the Conservancy, and that was approved by the entire board for Patrick to go and negotiate a potential MOU with the Conservancy. So Joe Shea was there, who represents the state, and seemed open to that possibility too. So I thought that was a pretty major milestone approval. But other than that, I think you got it.
Yeah, and then with one more thing on that, the Conservancy plans to meet sometime in October. I think there's some dates being thrown out there, October 15th, October 22nd, but it should land sometime in October. And that's the next Conservancy meeting.
Okay, good. Mecca Travel Center, there was meetings on the 16th and the 27th.
16th and the 27th.
Yeah, you were there for the 16th. That was our pre-meeting.
Yeah, so I was on my way back yesterday from Santa Barbara, so I was not able to join, but I did connect with both Mr. Barrett and Mr. Chandi over the phone to go over the meeting that was had yesterday. But we met on the 16th in preparation for that meeting. As you know, about a year ago, 2 years ago, as part of the Avenue 66 water transmission main, we cut through Mr. Chandi's property, negotiated some easements, and so there's a water line that now is it cuts through his property. And I think that travel center, there's been there for about maybe at least 20 years. And so because there was no water previously to this project, that area there, I think he relies on a private well. I believe the well probably has arsenic, probably has chromium-6. And so he's running a smart treatment facility there for that. And so now that the water's in there, he's just looking to possibly connect to our water line. And we did put out some stub outs there for future planning as when we put in the water line. So I think it was a little bit of just getting a sense of where connections might happen and what might have to take place in order for those connections to happen. But I hear it was a good meeting and something that we'll continue to work on probably for the next year or so. That's it.
Okay, good. Are there any other meetings we should report on today?
John, I just have one. I sat in on a webinar/Zoom presentation that was done by Secretary Crowfoot on the 22nd, where he discussed, panel members discussed an update on Clear Lake, Lake Tahoe, and the Salton Sea. Very high-level presentation. Interestingly enough, and I pointed this out at our board meeting, there was nobody there from the Salton Sea Authority. Patrick wasn't asked to participate, but the speakers were Joe Shea and Sylvia Paz, talking about Salton Sea. It was very high level.
All right. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve per diem for the meetings reported on? I'll move. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pass 4-0. General Manager.
No, sir, I think I've said enough.
Council.
Yes, Mr. President, just for briefly, wanted to mention a ballot measure that will be on the November ballot involving it's called the Building and Affordable California Act, and it would streamline the CEQA procedures that we are all familiar with and have to deal with on a regular basis. The CEQA process would be expedited for essential projects, and in our case, an essential water project would include a public water system for the collection, treatment, storage, distribution facilities, and the collection or pretreatment storage facilities. This expedited CEQA process would require a determination of a completeness of an application for a project within 30 days. But for us, because we're not the land use agency, we're more of the lead agency seeking approval or doing our own CEQA process. And for those deadlines, the district would have 30 days to determine whether or not the project requires an EIR, a negative declaration, or is exempt. There would be certain deadlines to complete those environmental documents. For an EIR, it'd be 365 days. For a negative deck, it'd be 180 days, and determine an exemption 90 days. But the key here is what would be the new timelines for someone to seek a judicial review or file a lawsuit to challenge our CEQA analysis. And an action would have to be filed within 30 days from the date that the agency, this district, files a notice of determination that the CEQA is complete, what it is, that it's been completed, and what the project is being approved. The action would have to be completed in court within 270 days, and the court could extend that by 90 days. So from our point of view, because we do a lot of CEQA compliance on a very large scale, having, if this measure passes through the state of California by the voters, would have some expedited review periods by which a court would have to make a final ruling on whether or not there were any valid challenges to our CEQA analysis. So you can be for or against that, but that'd be something that would certainly help in terms of our long-term projects here. And that's all I have today, Mr. President.
Thank you, Jeff. Any departmental reports?
No, sir, not today.
All right. At this time, the board will recess to close session to consider the items on the agenda. And then we will reconvene following that to report out. Reconvene. We have no reportable action from closed session, and with no further business, we are adjourned.